Revenue share. You have heard all about it, but the question today is, what is revenue share? How does it work? Just to add on to that very factor, it is opt-in, it is opt-out. There's a reason that many brokerages outside of EXP would have explained it to you as a pyramid scheme. And quite frankly, what it is in real estate, which is the ultimate pyramid scheme, it's the inverted pyramid. Why? Because if you think about real estate, who makes the money? The owner of the company, the territory owners, the franchise owners, the regional operators. Here, as you know by this point, EXP has a model where you can have your own office if you are a large team or brokerage who are partnering with EXP. As a solo agent, you don't need to be paying for an office you're not going to use. That money that would otherwise be coming out of your pocket and coming out your monthly fees can now go back to the agents who organically grow this company. Why? Strategically and specifically as EXP, the fastest growing real estate company in the history of our industry, because it is growing organically from one agent to another agent, to another agent, to another agent who took them international. So I'm going to speak from experience as the #1 global real estate team leader who took EXP out of North America around the world. What revenue share is the opportunity. There's a reason that you're specifically watching this video. Is because of who you are, the sweat equity you've put into your industry, the connections you have in your industry, and quite frankly, you may be tired, you may be burnt out. EXP has all the tools, has the ownership, has the infrastructure and ability to get you to have your own brand finally, your name in lights, your name above the door, to grow your company. But what about the opportunity to work outside of your MLS, outside of your state, heck, even outside of your country or continent? That is the ability of revenue share. What it is, the ability to create your own all-star team where you can all finally be working together. Isn't that something? And we're going to explain this with the ultimate musical band of all time, the Beatles. So I am John Lennon. I have been working in real estate for 20 years. I'm getting tired, but I love it. It's what I do. It's who my identity is. I find out about EXP. I look at the opportunity. How on earth can I say no? I join EXP. My favorite Beatles member would be Paul McCartney. So as John Lennon, I speak to Paul McCartney and say, hey, Paul, you're doing great. How about doing this together? You know, you could have your own solo career, but you know, working as the Beatles could be arguably better than being John Lennon and you separately as Paul McCartney. So we work together. Paul McCartney, of course, is powered by EXP now, has his very first deal with EXP. As you can see the numbers up here. He has a $10,000 commission. 80-20 split here in America. Paul McCartney gets $8,000. Out of EXP's $2,000, that gross overall, $10,000, EXP, me being the sponsor of Paul McCartney, John Lennon receives a check for $350 that very next month. So that's 3.5% of that gross commission out of EXP's $2,000. Why? Because as a sponsor, as a mentor, as a virtual team leader, it's my responsibility I welcomed him in and I'm here to help him through his career. But wait, the Beatles was the Fab Four, of course. So let's bring in number 3. Say we are going to speak now to Mr. Harrison, George Harrison. Paul McCartney loves some of his solo music. Says, hey, why don't we do this together? John Lennon is there to help Paul, to help George. And George does the exact same thing. He joins, he sees the ability of the Fab 3 at this point and joins EXP. He has his first commission, just so happens to be a $10,000 commission. And George Harrison takes home $8,000, which all goes towards his cap, which he never had at his previous company. Isn't that something? Well, now imagine this. Out of that, 3.5% from EXP's side of that gross commission goes directly to Paul McCartney. And as the person who introduced Paul McCartney, John Lennon gets a portion of that too. Isn't that something? Not to mention, because Paul brought in George also has his first deal. He's a shareholder at EXP, EXPI, for the first ever time in his career. He is a shareholder of his own real estate company. So he gets gifted $200 worth of shares and stock, or what they're trading for that day. But imagine this, Paul McCartney receives $400 as well. So not only is he making revenue share, which is the gist of what we're speaking about here, but he receives more shares and stock in a company. Isn't that amazing? But wait, again, it's the Fab Four, not the awesome trio. So they need a drummer and everybody's busy. So George reaches out to Ringo Starr. Ringo's like, well, I don't want to be playing the drums by myself. I need some help. So he joins and does the exact same thing. So we went from John Lennon being a musician by himself to partnering up with Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. This is how the Beatles became, and this is how you can create your own real estate team. Why am I, as I'm recording this live, the #1 global team leader for EXP in this tiny little town of Davidson, North Carolina? Because I have partnerships in 10 countries, and every agent we partner with here we are more productive as a unit. We have more listings and more sales than any other organization globally in the world. So the ability from revenue share finally gives you a couple of things. Gives you the ability to not just to be about you, gives you the opportunity of an exit plan, because every month you are making money residually from partnership and from mentoring and supporting people you always wanted to work with anyway. You get the ability to create the all-star team, the Fab Four, the Fab 4000 if you want it to be. You're not limited geographically. Now you can go outside of your market, outside of your city, outside of your town, state, country. The world is a big place. You get the opportunity now with our partnership here at EXP through the revenue share platform to do something bigger than you ever dreamed of before, bigger than ever imagined. And trust me, from someone who's living this dream, you get to do that. That is revenue share.